Hello, everybody. Welcome to the the Avenue webinar tracking learner activity. My name is John Allan. I'm a mentor, jack of all trades at the Avenue project, and I'm hoping that this session really helps teachers with their, their interactions with their courses and making sure that they have know the different options to find out what their students are doing and how they're progressing in their courses. So in front of you, you have the handout. This was emailed to all of you. It's the PDF format, and you have it to use and to do whatever you want with. It's full of hyperlinks to relevant activities. So today we can't go in, take a deep dive into any of these tools. I just want you to be aware on the surface level. If you want to go deeper, there are pretty well, there's pretty well a PDF for every single one that's very explicit. There are instructional videos on our Avenue YouTube channel that will go deeper. And also some of these features have been featured alone through Avenue webinars. So we have a lot of support here. If you do need help with these things, I'm on the help desk many hours each week. Come to me through the learnitoteach.ca portal and click on help desk, or email me directly at johnharoldallan@gmail.com. So I'm just going to put that in the chat. And I would try to get back to you within 24 hours. If that's okay. Okay. So at the moment, what I'd like to do is just see what your experience is with these tools, because I haven't used them all actively with a class. I just want to know what your experience is. So I'm hoping that you can see this poll. It's called Tracking Learners, and it asks, which of the following Avenue features have you used to track learners' progress? Okay, I'll wait another 20 seconds. All right, okay. So I'm going to end the poll and share the poll with you. So as we can see, most of us use the attendance register, because the attendance register does arrive with the course in the general section. The ePortfolio is something that a lot of us would use to keep track of our students for PBLA purposes. And the gradebook is a great feature, but it's very cumbersome. I think everybody would agree to that. And nobody has heard of the BigBlueButton analytics dashboard because it's new. And nobody has used the activities results block. Maybe it's just a feature that you haven't come across, but we'll see. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so here we go. On the handout, if you select any of the elements in the table of contents, it will take you to that element on the page. I'm hoping to have this updated and upgraded and shared out with the community when I share out the recording of this session. Okay, so essentially what we're here to do is talk about different options of tracking learner activity on your Avenue course. And as you can see, we have about 10 or 11 options. You of course wouldn't use all of these, but it's good to be aware of what they are so that you can make an educated choice in different courses moving forward. So what I'm going to do is just walk through these options. So the first one we come across here is the activity results block. And basically what it does is it allows you to post results from specific activities in the course, like an H5P or a quiz. Now, some students don't want their names appearing there, to see that they're at the very top of the list. And even actually, believe it or not, it has the worst score option, but I never use that. But I'll show you in the course I have here. The course is called New Neighborhood Issues. And here is the block itself. Maybe I should show you it as a student, so it looks cleaner. So the activity results block appears like this. The activity itself appears here, and the three highest grades. You can have the lowest grade as well. You can have the 10 highest grades if you want, and the grades come in here as an absolute number. I'll explain that in a second. And then you can have multiple activities appearing in different blocks. So you can use it many times if you want in your course. And see here, this is a different activity, a speaking task. And this one has a fraction result with the students' names. So this is kind of a gamification thing, but a lot of times students don't want that. So they just want something here, like this is anonymous, but you can also have their student number or some sort of other indication, a nickname or something like that there. So in the handout here, if you click here on the activity results block handout, you'll see that if you're an editing teacher, you can have step-by-step instructions on how to create and manipulate the activity results block. For our purposes right now, though, you can have more than one block in the course. You can set them up as anonymous users or their names, and you can also display, as we saw, fractions, absolute numbers, or percentages. So it's kind of a thing that some people use in terms of gamification to spur on competition between the students, but it's not for everybody, that's for sure. So the attendance register is the next one, and this is the one that you indicated was the most popular amongst us. So I'm in as a student now, but of course students can't see the attendance register. So the attendance register appears here when a course arrives. You click on it, it appears here, and what it does is it more or less generally tells you how much time on task the students have been in the course itself and their last time on the course. So it's a good way to report some statistics. Now, if you let's go back here. So basically, for reports for your institution or for IRCC, if you open it up, it gives you the different kinds of dates and times they've logged in, and how long they were in those times. These are small because these are samplers I've made, right? So the attendance register gives you all sorts of data on the students themselves and how they worked with the course. But with the attendance register, there's some settings, and the one is the timeout setting. I'm not sure if you've used that at all, but the timeout setting basically means if they're not active, say for 30 minutes, then you don't count that. Then all of a sudden you stop counting time for them. You can put that to 3 hours if you want, or you can put it for 5 minutes. So that changes the calculation of the big number that's up. Like, so if they're on for a session with you, and you expect them to be on for 2 hours, but after 5 minutes, they're not on, say, for 35 minutes, and you set the timeout for 30 minutes, their time stops. So they don't accumulate more time if they're just not on there for a while, and then they come back 2 hours later. Otherwise, everybody would have gigantic numbers. So you have to finesse the online session timeout feature to make sure that the reporting time is sort of accurate. The reporting time would never be perfectly accurate online because you don't know if they're reading something or if they're thinking, or discussing. So that's the online attendance register. The attendance register really is an approximation, but it gives you nice statistics. And you can see that they have been on that day. Badges is interesting because badges years ago, everybody thought they would change online education or blended education because you got these cute visual graphics, usually bright, and they indicate different accomplishments inside of a course. But the thing is that they were supposed to be universal, and every learning management system, every system would be able to share them. So if a student left Avenue and they went to college or something, they could bring their badges with them. In some cases, that's true, but in a lot of cases, it's not. And then also, some teachers I've noticed overuse badges. So in one course, they might have 50 badges. Um, that might be a bit much for the students to take in, but it looks kind of cool. However, if you want to use badges, there is a support doc. And sorry. And setting up the course badges is kind of simple. You set it up as a teacher for your class. You name it. You describe what it's for, and then you can choose from our file picker ones that we've already made for Link and CLB, or you can actually just put your own graphic up there, and then your course could have their own badges if you wish. So there, you can see in the file picker, there is a badge repository that you can drag things up. And essentially, what happens is when you're finishing off the badge, you will tell the badge creator what they accomplished to earn this badge. And pretty well every single one I've ever made is called the activity completion. So on my courses for teacher training, at the end of each course or of each module that's important, I have an activity that's a forum activity that the facilitator has to say, yes, they passed. And then if they get that activity completion, then the badge is issued. So they pass the course and they get a badge. You can do a similar thing with certificates as well, but you have to tell them, you have to say what they've done to earn the badge. And once they've earned the badge goes on the student's account, their Avenue account, and it will appear, it'll appear somewhere on their account, just like this. And once that badge is issued in Moodle, you can't take it away. You can't just go back and say, hey, no, you didn't earn that. It's stuck with their account for good. And badges, a lot of times, like I said, activity completion. So for example, in this one, maybe if you can say if they've finished all 5 of these activities, they get a badge. You can set it up in many different ways as you wish. And then once they finished all 5, they'll get a badge. It'll appear like this to the student. It looks more like this close up, but this goes on their Avenue account. And like the ePortfolio stuff, it travels with them. As a teacher, though, for tracking, there's a Manage Badges link, and you have the badge here. And if you want to know which students have received it, there's a recipients link. And if you click on the digit, you can see who got it and when. So badges are just a nice visual way to, I don't know, gamify it a little, gamify your course a little bit. So the ePortfolio, a lot of you indicated that you have used ePortfolio. Let's see here. Let me go back to my course. So everybody knows what the ePortfolio looks like, I think. So this is probably the most common way that you would track your students because it gives you a way to harvest or have their artifacts displayed. Like for example, in my course Link 3-4 John A, my student Ahmed Ali, when I go here, all of Ahmed's artifacts appear. Now, not just from my course, but sometime, okay, where is it? yeah, artifacts from other courses appear. So if I want to know how he's been doing for his reading activities, I can choose a skill here and see all of his reading progress. Um, if I want, I can see what other things they've been doing, the About Me tasks. And then also as a teacher, I can download these and download this ePortfolio. The student can download the ePortfolio, but for our purposes, this is a great way to see all of their artifacts here. And of course, for every artifact, there's a card. And in the card, there'll be evidence here. He scored 7.14. In this activity here, the Avenue Learning Leadership Certificate. It shows the attempts here. There's all sorts of information that you can get here. You can change the skill. You can change the activity type here. This one's an assessment. You can change the skill. And you can change the CLB level. And then you can change the can-do statements. I'm sure that most of you have been through this, right? If you haven't, there's excellent how-to guides and videos to support this. And you can say the student has not yet been successful or been successful. And so in the ePortfolio, you can choose, oops, sorry, I missed the, oh boy. Like you can choose a different student. It's jumping on me here from your class as well here. Okay, so that's
A quick question, John.
yes, Gary.
Sometimes they overlap and I don't know how to move like a previous teacher's in the binder, like a tool you know what I mean? When they overlap, like the top of one will cover the bottom of another.
Oh boy. What browser do you normally use, Gary?
Google Chrome.
Chrome? I'm gonna look into that. Is this common?
No, not that common. And also when they're going to another level, um, it seems so busy. If you know, I teach link 5 most of the time, and then I have all the link 4 things they've uploaded or the teacher has uploaded, and it gets so busy. We, I guess we can't delete it because it's the student's record, but
That's right, yeah.
I really think that the most important ones are the ones they're getting at that level, not the previous ones anymore. Do you agree with that?
I agree. Have you tried using the most recent link?
Oh, I just saw you click that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you hit most recent, it should be, well,
Oh,
no, that's
and
the oldest. Sorry.
so most recent would go back like 3 months, just like one term or it's 3-month terms or
Well,
something.
yeah, it should go in order from the newest to the oldest.
Okay.
So that button could help you out there.
Okay. And
I,
so,
I, I agree. I think that I know that they're modifying it. So, I mean, one thing to request would be to have the ability to hide the previous level. You
oh,
know,
okay.
that might be something you could yeah, let me write that down.
Well, it's definitely a lot faster than it used to be.
Yeah, they're working on it pretty hard. Uh, I'm gonna put that request in to see if they can do that. Put a hide button for the previous term.
And you think, like, if I'm doing a writing assessment and I'm writing all the corrections in the feedback box from, say, an email that they've been doing, I find doing a tool is kind of redundant. There's more detailed comments in my feedback box than on my assessment tool, and they have a record of the test plus my comments. Is it always necessary to have that tool on there? Like we've had pros and cons, like different people like JazzJit have said different things that maybe you don't always need a tool for all the. I know skill using we don't do tools, but What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think it's basically up to the person who's ultimately the is it your PBLA lead who judges whether the
Okay,
students are moving up and down?
yeah,
We are a big country and there's all sorts of things, different, slightly
I'm
different
sure.
things happening.
Yeah, okay. So,
Okay,
okay, I know you got lots to cover. Thank you.
cheers. So anyway, remember that for the ePortfolio, assignments, quizzes, forums, H5Ps, SCORMs, questionnaires, and feedback activities are normally automatically populated to the ePortfolio. But here's a new surprise, folks, and this might be good for you or might not. No, actually, it's pretty good. You know how at the bottom, when you get a learning object and activity and you say a quiz and you want to tag it, so you tag it ePortfolio and then you tag it reading, something like that. And then when it goes up, then you do all of those other elements like the can-do statements, successful, not all of that kind of stuff. Well, you can do 90% of that now. I don't know when it's going to be released, but I saw the beta. And essentially now, instead of having to use the tags option here, there's going to be this pop-out or element here called ePortfolio additional information. So if you have these kinds of activities, the assignment choice, database, feedback, forum, and all that, you would now, instead of using the tags option, you can do the ePortfolio additional information, add to ePortfolio, and then you can do these elements up front before they do the activity rather than later on in the ePortfolio. So it saves you more time at the end of the activity. So what kind of activity it is it? Click. What skill? What CLB level? The can-do statements. And then you're going to ignore the tags, but the tags might just disappear. So you might not have to ignore it. And then you see when you do the ePortfolio in the future, most of the work is done up front. So when you go later on, you don't have to go back. Maybe just go look at their artifact and say successful, unsuccessful. And that would be it. So that should save everybody some time. There are some really nice resources here. And if you want to know more about this process, the new process, there's a video here. And there's a full Tutela webinar on artifact collection that was in December, that happened in December. So if you want to know a lot of details about collecting artifacts and how to treat them and all of that, there's a lot of information here. And there's tons of step-by-step help links here that can help you if you're stuck, or ask your mentor or go to the help desk. The next element is called the checklist.
John, could I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
So just saying the thing that you just mentioned, I went and checked. This is a course that I had requested just recently, and it doesn't have that option of ePortfolio edition. It still has tags.
Yeah, it's in beta right now. I saw it last week. I'm just giving you a heads up. There'll be an announcement very soon. But Mary, yeah, sorry, I'm just giving you a glimpse into the future. Sorry.
Thank you.
But it does work. So whenever they switch it over, it'll come on the teacher's notification.
I hope it's done quickly. Thank you.
So do I. Thanks. So in a course here, a checklist looks like this. Some of you have used checklists before. Checklist is for students to either have a checklist at the top or somewhere in a module that checks off what they've done, so they can track themselves, or you as a teacher can see what they've done. Now you can do this either on a course-wide basis. So I'll show you here. Oop, maybe not. I'll show you on the course itself. Hang on. So this is what a checklist looks like. This one here allows me to check here. So if I'm a student, I could check it like that. Or they can self-check. And if you know what completion tracking is, those little squares on the right-hand side of each activity and resource, when those are checked off, you can set a checklist to read that and then correspondingly check things off in a checklist. So that's automatic checking. And you can have a checklist block as well. So here, this checklist is called a checklist overview. And this would be actually a checklist for each topic in your course. So if you have 20 topics, what it would do is it would say, in the topic choosing a bank, you are about 40% done. In the topic describe your neighborhood, you haven't started yet. So this is a checklist overview block, but then you can also set up a checklist block that just focuses on one topic. So this topic is called choosing a bank account. And in choosing a bank account, Ahmed is further along than Dirk and probably tied with Maria. So you can see here that they've been progressing. When I clicked on Ahmed's progress here on the block, it gives me more detail here, and it shows me that they've not finished selecting a plan and 6, 7, and 8 activity. So it allows you to jump back and forth if you put a little block here. If you go back into the checklist itself, so the checklists are actually in the course. And if you go here as a teacher, you can see students here. I just checked those off. They would be normally empty because it's just for me. If you look at view progress, you can see another visual way of seeing progress here. The students are here, and here are the activities in that specific module, and which ones they have completed are checked. If you want, you can go into edit checklist and do all sorts of wizardry here, like delete, hide, show, different things. So the checklist, you got a lot of options there. But some of you might just be thinking, well, it's just a lot of work just to have a checklist. It's kind of maybe it's not worth my while. Okay, so the next thing is the completion progress block. Has anybody used this at all? The completion progress block, and had success with it? I hope anybody? No. Okay, well, maybe this is something I would really consider if I were you. It gives you a nice visual way of seeing progress of your students in a course. And this is because it's John Allan here. I'm not showing any progress here, but it shows as a visual here. And when you scroll over it, of course, it shows here, and I'm not completed. But if it was a student, you would see a completed and maybe a mark here. If I click on, in my class, overview of students within the block, you'll see that I have 3 students here, and it shows me sort of what the checklist shows, right? I think this is a nicer one. So it shows me that they passed. Here he passed, didn't complete. So you can see really quickly how they're working through this. So that's the completion block, the completion progress block. Now, if you go into the completion progress block on a course with lots and lots of activities, it's going to be useless. It will show you something like this. Each of these represents an activity. So what you as a teacher have to do is go in and edit it to choose the activities that your students will be doing over, say, the next month or 3 months, to reduce the number of these blocks. Otherwise, it'll look like this, and nobody will be able to figure it out. So the students also see it as well. Once you put it on your course, they will see it as well. But they won't see overview of students. They'll just see this. And it gives you a nice feature here. This is an example of what the students would see. Something like that. And if they want, they can click on a block. It tells you what they have. what it is, and it will link and open up that activity for them so they can go look. Okay. One of the biggest linchpins of tracking students is something called completion tracking. I think all of you probably have this activated on your courses. Completion tracking is the indicator that to the right of resources and activities, these little squares to the right. Okay. And if they're not set up on your course, you probably should do it, because it allows you and the students to see what's going on with them really quickly on the main page of the course. So there's a nice little help file here. I think it's right here. No, sorry. Yeah, setting up and using completion tracking. So essentially what you do is when you go into your course, the very first page, you can just click on this cog. It's at the top right of the screen, and you click on edit settings and just click on enable completion tracking. It's really nice. And then all of a sudden this cascades throughout your course, and you can see if they've passed or failed or not attempted things. Okay. And then if you have a complex course, but that's finite, like say if you got a summer course and you only have, say, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and you have a finite number of activities, and you expect, say if it's online, that the students have to complete every single one of those activities, say 32 activities, you can actually send you can set up completion tracking for that. So when every single item is checked in your course, the course will indicate a pass. And when it indicates a pass, it could send you an email saying, Johnny has passed his course. You know, it's quite nice. So it's got some options there, and it's pretty cool. So there's a little bit of work in there, but all of these you can go down a rabbit hole and spend a lot of time. The one thing I found recently is some of those e-units have this solid square, and then the students don't really realize what that is. Maybe some of the teachers don't as well. These mean that you are testifying that you have done this activity. So in this case, I would click on that and it would check. If it's solid, they have to manually check it. It doesn't check automatically if they've passed something or if they've read something. If the square is empty, it's not indicated as passed or completed. The ones with a sort of serrated kind of square, those are automatically checked. If it's a green check mark, they passed. If it's a red X, they failed. And for example, something here like a forum, if they've gone into it and there's no grade, and they've gone in and looked around and maybe typed something, a blue check mark will indicate they've completed things. So that's how the completion tracking works. And as I told you earlier, the completion tracking is something that the checklist and the completion tracking is used for, oh boy, my brain's fried here. Completion tracking is used for the checklist and the completion progress bar block. Okay. Now there's the grade book. A lot of us have tried the grade book and we get super frustrated because the grade book, when you have a course, say with maybe 20 topics, the grade book will automatically go to this thing called the grader, and it will populate, and it will probably present you with 70, 80 columns. These are just really so frustrating for teachers, right? And it still is frustrating for teachers. But what you can do is to make the student's life a lot easier. You can go into the grader, click on setup, and go to the elements that you don't want and hide them. But I hope you have like a weekend to do this on some of your courses because they're so long. But the thing is that maybe if you're going to teach the same course, say 5-6 terms, it might be worth it, you know? First of all, I would put your course on a diet and get rid of some of the topics that you will never teach. And then I would go into the grade book and hide these things. And then each term the students get to see fewer elements, right? They won't see all of those columns and columns and columns, which is really hard to negotiate and read. For the students themselves or for you, you want to look at the user report. The students have a better look here. Instead of looking at the grader report, the long one with all the columns, look at the user report and it gives you a better look and feel. And this is one where I took out a lot of the grades, the grades I would never use, the resources from the grade book that I would never use. The gradebook is really good for creating reports and things. There's a ton of things you can do. There's all sorts of webinars and there's webinars and help guides for the gradebook. Then we come to the level up block. The level up block was a gamification tool that was introduced about 10 years ago to Moodle Avenue. There is a nice how-to guide. And as you can see, it sits here. Basically, it's kind of like a visual, hey, this is where you are. And it goes by levels. Now, the levels are calculated by you based on what you think they should be doing to earn the next level. It takes a bit of work. But basically, everything comes off of this block. You can see in the information, you can see what kind of visuals are here, and to earn the next level, maybe they have to come to class 7 times, or maybe they have to complete 3 quizzes or something like that. You have to, you set that up in the settings. And so this one has 10 levels. And here's, they use this algorithm formula. If you play around with it, it will allow you to, so it might look at, here's the whole course. Here are, say, I don't know, 5 units. It looks at all the work in it, how many are quizzes, how many are H5Ps, how many are glossaries, and then it comes up with a total number. And then it divides it by 10. And what happens is, every time they hit the next 10th, 10%, 20%, 30%, they up a level. It does that automatically for you, but you can adjust that if you wish. And then they have a leader ladder. This is gamification here, so the students can see what experience points they get in relation to folks in their class, what level they're in, and their progress. It also generates a report, which you might adopt. And there's, it's kind of complex, but if you just set it up really with the settings at the default settings, you'd be quite surprised at how well it works just with these 10 stars. But you can also use different kinds of images. I was teaching a course quite a while ago, and it was on oil rig safety. So I did all these tools from oil rigs, and then I had them turned into GIFs, graphics, and then I put those in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's what they saw when they were going through their course. So as you can see, you can make there are different ways to have this, but students, when their level jumps up, I have no experience points because I'm not a student in the course, but a big thing comes up on the screen saying, oh, you're in level 2 now, kind of thing. And like you have the students would be able to see the ladder if you allow them to. Here's the students in the class. And the students also see some of the information, but what levels and all that they have. Okay. So that's the level up block. And then there's this feature recently new or refined for Avenue. It's called the Learner Progress Summary. I'm hoping some of you have seen this and tried it out. So the Learner Progress Summary does not come from within Moodle. It comes from the card here in My Home. You know, when you go to My Home, you see your course. This is where you can add a student, and this is where you can jump to your course, but we're going to go to the class register here, right? So in the class register, you can see the students, how much of the course they've completed, with all the skills, how many activities they've completed, and when they were last on the course. You can also change their passwords and some of their emails here, but here is the Learner Progress Summary icon. There's a fantastic 3-minute video here if you want to learn more really quickly. So let me go to this. Where's my course? Yeah, here's my course here. Go to the class register and I'll look at Ahmed Ali. Learner Progress Summary. And I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, but this is another way to visually track or learn about your students' progress. Of course, the skills are here. The amount of elements that the artifacts that the student has submitted are here. And about me, it says the student has submitted 2 artifacts, and other 7 artifacts. So this gives you a good big picture here. And at the level, because this is a mock student, a lot of us use it for different purposes. So it doesn't really show what you would see. You would see clusters under CLB2 and CLB3 possibly. So here you see in CLB2, here's an artifact for listening, comprehending information. He submitted 1, and the green means it was successful. The teacher marked it successful in their ePortfolio. Here, interacting with others, something was submitted. A speaking activity was submitted, but the teacher did not mark it as successful. If you see white, it means nothing, but green means the student was successful. So here, because it is a sort of a mock student, we've played around with it, all of us, and we've submitted 37 artifacts, but only a few of them have been followed up. In your case, the number would probably match up here. Not perfectly, because some of them would not be successful. So this is the mass, the full number, and this is the results. Okay. And now the last one is the BigBlueButton Analytics dashboard. So BigBlueButton has just come up with something kind of cool. And the limitation here is, because I was really excited when I saw this, right? The limitation here is it only does 1 virtual class at a time. And then I thought, well, that totally makes sense. Okay. So at first I thought, oh no, the day after it's done, if you don't save it immediately, it's gone. So essentially a dashboard appears when you're running the session. So here's the 3 students: online time, talk time, webcam time, messages, emojis, raised hands, activity scores, and status. The key here is when you use this, you must click on download session data before you exit BigBlueButton for that day or that class. Otherwise, you lose all the data. And so the data comes into you as an Excel spreadsheet. It's quite nice. So let me see if I still have this open. So I have a BigBlueButton instance here. And how you activate this is, it's not very obvious. There's a little cog here. Manage users. If you go all the way down, this is a brand new thing. It's called Learning Analytics Dashboard. You click on that. If you had students in here, they would all be listed. And as they're participating in your course, they will generate data. So if you really have an issue with students and you want to find out who's participating or who's not there, or what if they're just maybe turning off the camera and just leaving and no participation, you could prove it this way. And then once you click on download the session data, it comes here as an Excel file. So it's quite a nice feature. It's a new feature. It's quite nice. Right. Sorry. So the Excel sheet will look something like this. And you can drill down into a single student and produce data, more data for one student. And that's the end of this session. Please turn on your mic if you have a question, and I'll be happy to try to answer your questions. But you do have the handout, so you can follow up on this if you wish. And if you wish to leave, you're more than welcome to.
John, thank you very much for that session.
Thanks, Mary.
I just have a question, if you don't mind. Could you just show me where I could download the, the last thing that you have shown?
Download it.
Yeah,
No,
that part I missed where.
Okay, that's okay. It's okay. Right here, when you're in the big blue button.
Yeah.
Where it says users, can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Manage
And
users,
the last part, yeah.
right there.
But the download,
Oh, that.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, down here. Download session data.
Oh, okay. Thank you. It's
Okay.
the same document at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, and good luck with that. I'd like to hear about your experiences with that, because I'm not running BigBlueButton this term, but geez, I'd like to see
Okay.
how
I'll
things
try that.
come out.
Thanks, John.
Okay, cheers.